Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Today, we are here with another Ask Us Anything webinar. This is the webinar series where you ask your questions and we answer them live. Today, we are going to talk about gamification, but not in the same way that we did last time, because we already have a session for Ask Us Anything all about gamification. Today, we're going to do something different. We are going to see a practical gamification example. And that example came from a customer, and a customer that has been with us a lot of years, and a customer that is really close to TalentLMS. And they were needing to do a scenario based on engaging the learners with not only just the courses, but generally with the portal. So inspired by this scenario, we are going to share the issue and the solution that we presented. And of course, we're going to do it without naming any names here. Let's get started. My name is Theo. I'm part of the customer education team, and I'm answering your questions live and hosting the session today. But also behind the scenes, we have Nick. Nick is going to also answer some questions behind the scenes in the Q&A. But of course, we are here to answer the questions live, so don't hesitate to ask us literally anything about TalentLMS. So let's get started and let's see what we have prepared. It's going to be a very short presentation, 7 to 10 minutes, and we will focus on how you can boost the portal engagement with gamification. And then we will see how you can offer rewards to your users using badges. At the end, we'll share some gamification tips. And of course, the majority of the time will be dedicated to your questions in the live Q&A. Just remember, the session is recorded and you will receive the recording once the session is over. So today, later, or tomorrow, check your inbox and you will see the recording. And also, we want you to engage with us in the Q&A. So use the Q&A button that you see in the meeting controls. Ask your question. It can be anything about TalentLMS. And of course, you can do it anonymously. But to be very fair, we'd love to know your name so we can have a direct chat with you. So let's get started. I'm gonna switch my slides off, and let me just tell you this before we even move into the portal. Why gamification is important? Because it is the key to boost learner engagement, and especially not only learner engagement with your courses and the content, this is a major thing, but also with the other resources that you share in the account or with the other learners. For example, using discussions, we can communicate them. And we need to promote these type of engagements because TalentLMS is not only about the courses, but it is also about learning together. So gamification boosts course adoption, it spikes the activity of your portal, and of course, it makes training fun because why not earn points, play a game while we learn at the same time. Let me share my screen, and what you expect to see is a learner's view. At this point, you see that we have switched to a learner view because that is what we will start with and see how we can earn the points from there. So what you can see is the leaderboards. You see the 370 points there that this learner has already acquired. And you can see that by getting points, somebody can compete with the rest of the team. Now, I know that at this point, we are looking at the way that the points are offered and we have 370 points, but how a learner can actually earn something new, how they can get more points and get to number 1, number 2, or number 3. Just click here, how to collect points, and you will see that as a learner, you can always see how you get, for example, by logging in 20 points, by commenting in discussions or creating new topics, another 20 points, by upvoting and participating into upvoting the comments of others, you get 10 points. And the same thing can happen with the levels. So at this point, this learner is at level 8, but then again, they can always see where the rest of the team has reached. And then we have badges. Badges are rewards. So now, if we have a look at the badge collection, we can see that this learner has already received a couple of badges and they can add more to the collection. But how this is set up, why they get points about discussions, why they get levels and badges. Let me switch back as an admin and let me go to the account settings and especially have a look at the gamification. Now, you might have guessed a little bit the scenario here, right? What we had with the customer that we got inspired from is this. They were all right with courses. Learners were getting the mandatory training, but they wanted to get learners to log in more frequently and therefore participate in discussions, get in conversations with other learners, and using that route, they would get recommended to more courses because people in discussions were sharing courses that found useful or courses that they could get from the catalog. So they wanted to trigger course adoption by participating in the discussions and by talking to each other and getting suggestions from one another. So this is what we're going to do today. We are in gamification settings, accountant settings, of course, as an admin. And the very first thing that we have to check here is that gamification is on. This is part of the global settings, which means that if gamification is on, it applies to everybody in the account. If it's off, nobody plays. Let's talk about the points though. The points can be customized. So at this point, you see that we award points when somebody logs in, and that is how we get 20 points every time we log in. And we award points at the same time about discussions. So when somebody creates a topic or adds a comment, they also get 20 points. And when they upvote a comment that somebody else left, they get 10 points. So we promote engagement in discussions by giving points. But what did we say before? They wanted to promote discussion engagement because there were course suggestions there and people were prompted to get more course from the catalog. So we are rewarding the course completion using badges. So here we give points by participating in the conversation and we give badges by completing courses. Badges can be personalized. So if we get to customize the badges, you have different sets here that you can use, but since we only award learning badges in this setup, we have customized the learning badges. So you can click and you can upload your own image, or you can click on the name and you can change the name. So the benefit of that is that you have the option to create a completely personalized reward system based, for example, here on rewards for local businesses and at the end, a luxury dinner at a hotel. Let's go back and let's have a look at the rest of the settings. And if we move forward, we will find levels. Levels in this particular customer setup is also about completion of the courses. So we choose to upgrade a level every 5 completed courses. And finally, the leaderboard. So here we have the option to choose what somebody will be able to see in comparison with the rest. So anybody can see the leaderboards, but if we choose to show levels, show points, maybe badges, but that customer wanted that to be personal. But levels and points, if you have them on, you will be able to see where you rank among the rest of the people that participate in the account. So this is the setup for that customer. Engage with discussions, promote logins, promote comments, topics, and upvotes, and then reward as well course completion, because in the discussions they would find more suggestions from other learners. And of course, a little competition, right? It doesn't hurt to compete in a healthy way. This is a healthy way. And they only move forward if they get more training. So to be fair, nobody loses and training becomes more fun. Let me just share 2 tips before we get into your questions. First of all, let's talk about branches. Branches in TalentLMS are separate training environments that you can create, so that way dedicated users of the branch will have dedicated training and they will be completely separated from the rest of the main portal and of course the rest of the content and the learners. So branches can have their own gamification sets. Although the gamification account settings are global, if we get to a branch, for example, you have a customer branch and you want to give them different rewards. If we get, for example, to this branch, which is supposed to be for a customer, if we get all the way down, you will see that each branch can have its own set. So even though the gamification settings are global, the points, the levels, when you will get badges as well, still you can get different badge sets for any branch. And a very final tip before I move into your questions, and I can see the questions already buzzing, so please send them, keep sending them. So another tip is about the user types. What we said is that gamification is actually part of a global setup of the account, so everybody plays. But there is a workaround if you want people in a specific branch or people with a specific user type not to participate in gamification. So let's go to the user types. And what you see is that I have created a new external user type. Click on it. And what you get is in the learner role, we have unticked gamification there. So now that person doesn't even know what gamification is, doesn't even participate, not only in the leaderboard, but anywhere. They don't get points, they don't get badges, they don't get the rewards. I'm going to show you how that looks. So if I get back and if we get to the users and find somebody with that specific user type, for example, Abby, as an admin, remember that tip, you can click and log into the account of another user. So now you see, Abby doesn't even know about gamification. There's no leaderboard. There is no indication of gamification statistics in the macro statistics bar. So Abby doesn't play. Let's go to your questions because I can definitely tell that there's a lot of them. So let me just bring this forwards. And Mason is asking a question about imports. How do you use the user import feature to import multiple new users? Brilliant question, Mason. And remember, everybody, you can ask anything. It doesn't have to be only about gamification. Let's go to the imports and let's have a look at the Excel file. That is the quickest and easiest way to import multiple users. So if I click to download the sample Excel file, and if we open it up right there, it will open up with Excel or numbers, depending on your device. And what you see is that we have a dedicated sheet here on that Excel file, which is dedicated to users. Let me zoom in so that way we can really read this together. And you see, we have the username column, the first name, the last name, the email. You can definitely use bio information, which is a set of, for example, notes that you can leave for their job or anything, or even remove it. And then once you fill in that set of details for as many users as you want, save the file, of course, and then drag and drop it, hit import, that's done. I know that you might have a little bit of time to test it or more questions. If you get to our webpage, which is talentlms.com/webinars, you will see that we had a previous Ask Us Anything session about import. So there's a lot of questions answered there as well. Let's get another one. Jamie. Jamie's asking, does the gamification work regardless of if users are on the desktop side or mobile? Brilliant question, Jamie. It works everywhere. So learners, as long as they complete their courses, doesn't matter if that's on the desktop, doesn't matter if that's on mobile, doesn't matter if you have TalentLMS Plus. So you will be able to actually participate as a learner and see your points, badges, and levels in any occasion that you use TalentLMS. And there's a question from John. What reports can we as admins see of users, points, and badges? John, brilliant question. Let me just bring the report discussion to you. We have the option to see reports in 3 different ways. So way number 1, that would be the users. So if we get to the user report, and for example, it can be, let's say, Laura's report here, you have the option to see the individual users' statistics, for example, the badges, the points, and if you get a little bit further down, you can see again the leaderboard, how they compare to the rest of the team. That is one report that you can see gamification statistics. And of course, needless to say, if you or the user exports the reports, they will be able to see the stats in the Excel export. The second report that you can see gamification statistics, that is in custom reports. Now, if you have Plus, Premium, or Enterprise plan, you have seen custom reports on the bottom right. So there, if we actually click custom reports, we have the option to create reports that reflect gamification statistics for the users you want. So for example, if I go to edit that particular report, you see that we have rules that reflect gamification progress. So we can see people that have at least this amount of points, people that have reached at least this amount of level, and in the output, we can see the points, badges, and level. I know that you might be looking forward to seeing how that looks. This is how it is. The users, the type, courses, points, badges, level, and of course, you can add more rules, like users belonging to a branch, users belonging to a group. And the final type of report, which is not a report, but I like to call it a report, that is the infographics. But that is a generic idea of the gamification progress in your account. So when you work with infographics, you will be able to see that there is a section here where we reflect the gamification stats for your entire account. I hope that helps. And of course, if you have any follow-up questions, please drop us another one in the Q&A. Let's see another one from Edgar. Edgar is asking, can teachers access gamification results? I've seen that only admins can see results. Let's see that together, Edgar. Let me actually go as instructor here, and let's have a look at a course. For example, let's do one that's probably has some points. Yeah, let's go for this one. And I hope that I have some learners completed that. As you understand, that is a demo account and it might not have real people's data in. So let's go to the rules and paths. Sorry, let's go to the reports and let's see what we can get. So the instructor can see information about the learners. And of course, the instructor is able to see the overall progress overview. And when you get to the users, you can only see data related to that specific user's report in training. So instructors cannot see gamification results. However, let me just have a quick look and get back to you by email, because I just want to make sure if there is a workaround that we can apply. At the end of the day, if you have a report that you want to see for users having gamification statistics, the admin, of course, can go ahead and schedule that particular user's report for you. Or if you have custom reports in your plan, you will be able to get a custom report scheduled by an admin containing the data you want. But let me just double check and get back to you, because I want to be 100% behind every answer I provide. And let's see another question, and that is a question from Paul. Paul actually has two questions. Let's go. Number one, is there a way to search for course units? When I go to Academy Home and search my courses, is there a way to find the course with particular modules? Paul, that is a good question, but when you search for a course, you get data based on the course name and the course description. So if you have the keywords that you have used in your unit titles and you have a list of units in the course description as well, you will be able to get the results, because technically it shows what's on the description. So if you want to use unit names as parameters for searching, add those to the course description, and then you will be able to get the related courses. And this second one for the new beta version will be a list view for courses. Paul, I'm going to follow up with you by email, because I want to share with you some screenshots about it, and we will talk by email as well. But if you want to just have a look about the beta, just click on TalentLMS beta under account settings, and you will be able to get a tour. But remember, that is for learners. I'm going to follow up with you and let you know in detail. Let's have another one as well. And that is from Stephanie. Stephanie is asking, can you show an example of the difference between branch and group? Yes, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and say that we have a full-length webinar, an hour-long webinar about organizing your accounts, and that is exactly what this does. It highlights how you can use branches, how you can use groups, and the relationship and difference between them. But in brief, let me tell you. The branches are independent training environments. So for example, you might have customer training, you might have department training, you might have training that you only want to have in a dedicated environment. That's going to be a branch. The branch has its own URL, or multilingual training, like the Spanish one here. The branches have their own URL, so you like to think about them like mini portals that people can join with their dedicated link, dedicated users, instructors, courses, and like another little TalentLMS account. The groups are a tool that you can use not to segregate people. You use it to mass assign courses to people. So branches are separate portals. Groups can be available within your main account and within branches as well. So with groups, you have the option to create a group, and then you add courses. And that is how you can actually go ahead and add more courses to the group. And then you get to the users, and you can add users as you go. And of course, go ahead and mass assign through the mass actions button the users to the courses. So the groups are a tool to help you as administrator to do mass actions and assign courses to users. And the branches help you as administrator and organization to create individual environments for training where people in the branch will only have access to what's in the branch. I would suggest checking that webinar again. That is in our website, talentlms.com/webinars. And of course, we are here to help with any questions. Lots of good questions here. So let's have a question from John. John is asking, can a group belong to one branch only? Well, it depends. Yes, it can belong to one branch only because when you get to the branch and create groups, you see that this group is dedicated for the branch. Or when you get to the main accounts and you work with a group which you can associate with a branch, yes, that is a group which belongs in a branch. However, you don't really have to do that unless you want the branch admins to be able to go in the branch and work with the group as well. Otherwise, you can set the groups in your main portal, you can handle them from there, and you don't have to tag them with a branch unless you want the branch admins to be able to use the group in the branch. This is a good question. So of course, if you have follow-up questions, let us know. And I'm going to give you a spoiler here, John, especially because groups in branches is something that branch admins will handle. In a couple of days, we will have a webinar, an Ask Us Anything webinar, all about branch admins. So we are hoping to see you there because you will get a lot of answers in that webinar as well. And let's see another question from Amber. Amber is asking, how do you unlink units between courses? Let me just clarify what you mean here, Amber, because unlinking, I just want to clarify if that means by cloning, right? Or, I mean, by linking units in the courses or by linking courses basically one with another. I think I'm overthinking that, right? So let's go into a course and let's have a linked unit. So when you have a linked unit, so if I go to link from another course, and if I go to pull, for example, that specific unit, I think that you're referring to how we can remove the link and not have that unit here, right? So just delete the units or deactivate the unit. I would say delete so that way you don't have it linked. You cannot change a linked unit to a cloned unit. If you want, you can always just go ahead and clone from another course and clone the exact same units and then delete the linked one. But I feel that I might not be understanding exactly what you're looking for. So please send us an email, trainingteam@talentlms.com. Let's have another one. And that, okay, Amber, perfect. Really good to see that that was correct. Okay, so let's have another one. So at this point, there is a question from Ed, and Ed is saying, if I activate the beta, I'm unclear if it's just my account that will be beta or has it cascaded out. I'm not sure what you mean with the cascaded out, but if you activate the beta, your learners will see TalentLMS Plus instead of TalentLMS. Let's see another question, and that is a question about gamification. So does gamification work retrospectively? Next time learners log in, do they have the option to claim points that they should have claimed before? That's an anonymous question. I'm afraid no, it doesn't work like that. Whoever plays from the beginning will always play. So make sure that if you activate gamification, is something that everybody is willing to go on board with it and participate in it. And if somebody wants to participate later, most likely they have to start from scratch because, of course, you have to change and activate the gamification settings or change the user type from the non-gamified one to the gamified one. Remember the hack that we saw with activating gamification. And let's see another one. Okay, Ed, perfect. That's what you meant as well. Brilliant. Let's see another one as well. Bill is asking, is there a timeline on when TalentLMS Plus will go live? Bill, you can use it right now for learners. So definitely you can actually have a look at your portal and you can see TalentLMS beta there. But that is for learners. And we are still working on the other elements of TalentLMS Plus. And there is another question as well. And I think this is a question that comes from John. John is asking, branches have separate gamification settings, as you said before. Can you add specific points to specific branch courses? Well, the question that I was looking for. So thank you for asking that, because now I can show you another tip. So yes, branches have separate gamification settings when it comes to the budget set. Remember, we can have different budget sets for different branches. But if you want to create courses that will give different gamification points for different branches, we have to look at automations. Automations are available in the premium and enterprise plan. So I hope that you are looking into those plans or you already have that plan. But if not, think about it, because this is a really good investment to save you time and create that different environment. So let's say that we have a course which is called How to Create a Course. How to Create a Course is the course on your main account, which by the default gamification settings can get, let's say, 100 points. If you want to use that in the branch with a different point allocation, create a clone of the course. So that's going to be How to Clone Course for a branch. And with automations, if I go to my events engine and have a look at automations, you will see that you have the option to give extra points when somebody completes a course. So you have the cloned course that you want to use in the branch. So you select the automation on course completion, give X amount of points, select the cloned course, and then you can give it more points. So in the branch now, that person will get 200 points. So 100 points by completing the course anyways, because that's a global setting, and an extra 100 points from the automation that you have set up. So you need to have automations, create a clone of that course, give the extra points to the clone of the course, allocate that course to the branch members, and you're good to go. And another question as well from Maria. Can you turn on gamification later for a course and anyone that has already taken it will get the points assigned? Well, sorry, but doesn't work that way. So retrospective points assignments is not something that works. So once you have completed the course and the settings were not there, everything will count for the point that you actually create the settings and for anything new that you actually complete. I hope that helps, and I hope that all of your questions have been answered. If not, please send us an email, that is trainingteam@talentlms.com, and we will be able to follow up and answer there as well. But don't forget, we have lots more resources to share with you. So let me just bring up my slides again. And let me show you our email address. I know I've said it before. I know that Nick has already shared that in the chat, but our email is always available, trainingteam@talentlms.com. We will definitely welcome your questions. We want to know what you would like to get answers for. And of course, we want you to engage with our resource page. Our resource page is talentlms.com/webinars. There you can see previous webinars that have taken place, and I have already referenced a couple of them today, but also you will see our upcoming webinars. So I already gave you a spoiler. There is going to be an Ask Us Anything for branch admins. And okay, I'm going to tell you the other one. It's going to be about training in a virtual classroom. So it's going to be all about instructor-led training remotely. And finally, we also have a question for you. If you can kindly provide us your feedback, that would be really helpful for the webinars that we present to you. So there is a survey link right now on the chat, and we would love to hear from you. What did you like about the session? What you would like to see in upcoming sessions? And of course, that is something that takes less than a minute, just a couple of seconds, and it would really help our team create and curate sessions that you would like to watch. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Nick, for being the force behind the chat. And of course, we are hoping to see you in our upcoming webinars. So see you soon and happy training. Bye, everybody.